Hi everyone, my name is Eder and welcome to another Project Wesker video. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down 4 of the character Vignette trailers. So we have Claire, Leon, Chris, and Wesker's trailer. Now right before we get started, I just wanted to say that to avoid being repetitive, every time I see a scene that I've already reacted to in a previous video, I'll just state that and skip, unless that scene offers anything new to add. And I'll also leave a tag on the top right of the video so you guys can see my previous trailer breakdown video of Welcome to Raccoon City. And if this is your first time here, consider subscribing because I post about everything that has to do about Resident Evil every single week. Also, if there's any newer information that releases, and that can be in the form of a trailer or an interview, I'll actually leave a link to that updated video down in the description and in the comments, so you guys can always come back to this video and check for updates. And I also wanted to shout out Horror Fan for Life, since he actually requested that I do a reaction or a breakdown of Chris and Leon's trailers. And so thank you so much for the heads up, Horror Fan, and I hope you enjoy the video. And the last thing I wanted to mention, and this is something that I've stated in my previous videos, is that I know that there's a ton of negativity surrounding this movie. I know a lot of fans are upset about the director changing things like smaller changes to the character's look and hair, or even bigger changes like combining the first 2 games into one story. But I want you guys to know that I won't be nitpicking for a lot of those details. My mentality going into this movie is that it's probably not going to be perfect, but hopefully it's just better than those Milla Jovovich movies. Since us Resident Evil fans have gotten burned quite badly with those movies, so I understand why people are quick to judge the movie. But I just want you guys to know that I'm going into this movie being cautiously optimistic, and to be honest, I'm quite excited. But seeing the like to dislike ratio of these trailers is kind of surprising to me. There's a lot more dislikes for a lot of these trailers, so it seems like people are just really upset about this movie, and I just want you guys to know that I'm not going to have that mentality. But in any case, let's get started. So the first trailer we're going to be breaking down is Claire's Vignette trailer. Now in terms of new scenes, there wasn't a lot in this trailer, so we're just going to go through this as quickly as possible. Alright, so the first scene we've already reacted to, her just pumping the shotgun, shooting. We see a shot of Raccoon City, her telling Chris that there's a conspiracy. We see a shot of the Welcome to Raccoon City post. Then we see another shot of Claire and Leon in what looks to be downstairs of some building. Now this is a different angle of a shot that we saw before of Claire entering Chris's property. Now in this next shot we do see a close-up of Chris's punching bag, which is funny that there's just a huge hole. He's been practicing his boulder punches. And speaking about boulder punching, remember to punch that notification bell so that you guys never miss a video. The other interesting thing that we see in this scene is we see a shot of her bike. Now in the previous trailer, or the trailer before that, I don't remember exactly, we did see Claire arriving to Raccoon City hitchhiking with the truck driver. So it's a little weird because in the first trailer we did see a scene of Claire riding her motorbike. So that just begs the question, right? Did she get to Raccoon City while hitchhiking, and then after she went to her old house or something and then grabbed her bike and started riding around Raccoon? I don't know, it's interesting. Yeah, that's just a small detail that I'm curious to see because we've seen different footage of her using the bike and then entering Raccoon City. Anyways, yeah, we see her talking to her brother. She's showing Chris the video. Yeah, we've already seen Umbrella is shelter from the storm. We see what seems to be an older shot of William Birkin just because he has a different hairstyle there, which leads me to believe this is a flashback. We see the zombie that William Birkin was working on. Now this is a different shot of R.P.D. Gates. We see one zombie there, and I'm assuming later on we're going to see more zombies because we have seen that shot several times. And sure enough, yeah, this is the shot that I was referring to, just the zombies breaking in. Then we see the same shot again of Chris and her talking in their house. Now this is a scene I don't think we've seen before where they're running down what looks to be R.P.D. They're going down the hallway, and it seems like there's a bunch of zombies that have just entered. This scene probably follows the scene that we just saw of the zombies breaking in through the gate. Leon looks like he's behind Claire here, and they're just running down the hall. And so that is the end of Claire's Vignette trailer. So let's move on to the next character trailer, and that's actually Leon's. Okay, so Leon's trailer starts off with a shot of R.P.D. Now here's a scene we haven't seen before. This is Leon. It looks like Leon was the one that closed the gate to the R.P.D. Now, judging by this picture, we can ascertain that this is right after the crash, the truck driver crashing right in front of the R.P.D. because the fire looks like it just started. Anyways, yeah, well, here we have a hair flip of Leon. Yeah, we've already seen this scene where he's just reloading. Now, this scene, I don't know if this is in the orphanage or if this is R.P.D. This building looks very run down, but I don't know if it's because it's been destroyed, something happened. Now this is the liquor scene, and that's why Claire is looking up. But I never noticed the background before, but it looks very destroyed. So maybe this is the orphanage, and maybe the orphanage was just really old and stuff. Or I don't know if this is the hospital. I don't know. I don't know exactly where they are. But it could just be the R.P.D. and something's happened, you know. Maybe G was right there. I don't know if this is G or the liquor. Now this is the scene that follows. Yeah, they're all looking up, and then obviously we get a reference to Resident Evil 2 when Leon looks up and sees the liquor. So it probably is R.P.D. just because we just saw a reference shot of the OG Resident Evil 2, and then we seen that same shot where the zombies are breaking into R.P.D. And this scene right here looks like it's probably right after the scene that I just broke down with Claire's Vignette trailer where they were walking down the hallway, because it looks like it's the same lighting. This looks like it's the R.P.D. Looks like Leon and Claire are probably following Chief Irons to somewhere safe, and that's probably when those zombies have just broken into R.P.D. That's what I'm assuming. All right, the next shot we see Leon, what looks to be outside. He's pointing at something. And I don't know if they're entering. I don't know if that's a garage. It's hard to see. The scene happened incredibly quick, so it's a little blurry. I can't really see anything here. Next scene, we see them at the downstairs area. I don't know where this is. This could be downstairs of R.P.D. or it could be downstairs of a building. I really can't assume. All I can tell is that it looks like a basement of some sort, because there is stairs on the right and to the left leading downstairs. We've seen this shot in my previous trailer breakdowns. All right, now here is an interesting shot, because here we see Leon and Jill, and it looks like Leon is about to drive the train out of Raccoon City. So this is probably the end of the movie. And so this connects Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 into one final ending. Because, we do know from the previous trailers that we see Chris is in the train with Sherry, and so is Claire, and now we know, and now it's confirmed that Jill is also here, because we did see Leon with a rocket launcher in the previous trailer. Leon looks like he's the one driving the train, and they're headed out of the city. Then we see another shot of the locker room where they're all getting ready. This is probably the beginning of the outbreak when they're all together in R.P.D. And we see a shot of Evangelia talking about how realistic and how close this is to the video game. Yeah, he's picking up a shotgun. These are all scenes we've seen before. Okay, so now we see another scene here of the train. Seems like he just started it. Leon's probably driving it out of the city. And then the next shot, we see Leon bringing his RPG or his bazooka. Yeah, it looks like a bazooka. And he's ready to shoot. Now, the next scene, when I first saw this scene, I assumed that this was probably that mansion blowing up, and it's probably the self-destruct timer, and Chris makes it out of there in the nick of time. But now that I look at this scene again, if you notice on the right, we have the same holes that's located inside of the train. And so this begs the question, is Leon shooting his bazooka inside of the train, and then Chris was literally right there? Maybe he got grabbed by G, since we have seen in the previous shots that G does enter the train. But that's what I'm assuming here because of those holes on the right. And then after we see Chris commenting on Leon's bazooka, and that's the end of the trailer. So we did actually see a lot of newer scenes to Leon's trailer compared to Claire's Vignette trailer. All right, so let's move on to Chris's Vignette trailer. Now with Chris's Vignette trailer, we start out by looking at that outside look of the mansion, which is a really great shot, which I've mentioned previously in the other trailers, so we're just gonna skip that. Yeah, we see Chris entering. Another shot of Chris in the helicopter. This is probably taking place near the beginning of the movie when the S.T.A.R.S teams are deployed to go to the Spencer mansion. Yeah, these are just scenes that we've already seen before, but just new angles. Okay, then we see the same shot of R.P.D that we've seen previously, but now with this scene, we actually see all of the S.T.A.R.S members. I don't know where Brad is. I think the person that's sitting at the desk is probably Chief Irons. And then also in the back of the wall, we see Leon in those party things. I don't know what they're called. Those party letters, which we saw in the game, which was just the police, officers just congratulating Leon on joining the force in R.P.D. We don't see a shot of Brad. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, all we see is Richard, Chris, Albert, and Jill here, but we don't see, again, we haven't seen anything to suggest that Barry is in this movie. And just like I mentioned, it looks like the person on the desk is most likely Chief Irons. And so judging by the scene, it looks like there's not that many police officers in the town, and we do know that from the synopsis of my first trailer video, right? My first everything we know about Welcome to Raccoon City. We do know that Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is going to be a little different in the fact that, Umbrella was basically providing a lot of jobs for Raccoon City, but after they left, a lot of the citizens left because there was no money to be made in the town of Raccoon. So a lot of people have left the city, and so it's a very deserted city. So it makes sense that that's why there's not a lot of police officers. And so that just begs the question, question, is the normal police officer's room connected with the S.T.A.R.S room rather than it being two different locations in the R.P.D, just because the director did choose to take that approach to Raccoon City. Yeah, because this does look like, why are the S.T.A.R.S team members hanging out in the regular officers area? You know, in the game, the S.T.A.R.S members were always on the second floor. And so that's what I can ascertain from this scene, is that it's probably just one room and there's not that many police officers in the city of Raccoon. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Is that person on the right sitting on the chair, is that Chief Irons or is that Brad? It's hard to tell from this scene. All right, so the next scene, we see that same poster of Umbrella is a shelter from the storm, and this looks like it's probably the orphanage. Then we see that flashback of William Birkin because he has different hair. Yeah, we see Robbie and Mel here just talking. Same shot of the zombies breaking into R.P.D. Chris looks like he just fought something and he's just really exhausted. In this shot, he's all bloody. This is probably like near the end of the movie. Then we see that first initial encounter with the zombie and the mansion, that iconic scene from the games. Except this time we have, we actually see a new shot, and this is the zombie getting up and going towards Richard and Chris. Yeah, we see Chris shooting and somewhere's in the dark. Yeah, we see that same shot of the truck driver. Yeah, we already reacted to that. Zombie dog. Yeah, Chris talking to Claire. Same scene of them entering the mansion. We don't need to react to that. Yeah, Sherry and Chris in the train. We reacted that in the previous trailer. And here it's a little hard to notice, but I think what's happening is this is probably in the mansion where it's very dark and there's a zombie chasing Chris. That's what I can ascertain from this. And then yeah, that's the end of Chris's trailer. Now we move on to the last Vignette character trailer of Albert Wesker. So let's start. All right, so it starts off with another shot of the helicopter, and Brad looks a little weird. I don't know if this is the same shot of them going to the Spencer mansion or if this is Brad crashing into the Spencer mansion when he's already a zombie, because I can't, it's hard to tell. I mean, this is a screenshot after all, but doesn't Brad look a little weird here? He kind of looks like a zombie, but I don't know. That could just be the angle or just me just theorizing a little too much. Anyways, yeah, we see that same shot of Albert Wesker in the helicopter. He looks like he's thinking about stuff. Now, what I found interesting about this trailer is that Johannes Roberts and Tom Hopper both mentioned that in this movie, you'll see Albert Wesker's transformation into the Wesker that we know from the games. A lot of people in the comments, right, a lot of my viewers were like, how come Albert Wesker doesn't have glasses, you know? And what I always assumed is that probably at the end of the movie or near the end, we'll see Albert Wesker donning his sunglasses and him showing, you know, him being the Wesker that we all know and love from the Resident Evil games. But I think what they were really trying to achieve here in the movie is basically showing Albert Wesker being a friend and then showing him kind of turn to the dark side or showing his true color. So we're going to see that transformation of him being a friend and turning into a foe very quickly. And that's exactly what the director Johannes Roberts and Tom Hopper were talking about in this trailer. In this movie, they're taking more of the route that Albert Wesker was human, and then after this incident, that's when he becomes the Wesker that we know. And of course, in the games, Albert Wesker was always incredibly shady, and sorry for the pun, I mean, you know, with his shades, but he was always incredibly shady, and so he was always a stereotypical villain from the get-go. And then after, you know, it shouldn't have been a surprise in the video games that Wesker was the villain. You could tell right away, oh yeah, that guy looks like he's the villain. You know, and I don't think this is going to be a problem, or it's too far-fetched to say, oh, well, Albert was a friend, and then after him turning into a foe. I think it adds more to the character. Anyways, now let's continue with the next shot. We see Albert and Chris leaving the helicopter, and this is just another angle of them going through the forest, or Raccoon Forest, or is it called Arklay Forest? I think it's called the Arklay Forest. And then we see another interesting shot. Now, a lot of my viewers said that they heard rumors that in this movie, Jill and Wesker are dating. And so that's actually very interesting. And the reason I find that interesting is because I always thought that Wesker did have a weird fascination with Jill, right? I mean, it's been a joke, and you'll see that in a lot of fan accounts where people, you know, like they make it seem as if like Wesker's really into Jill. And I mean, it is weird. If we do look in the games, like Resident Evil 5, Wesker basically kidnapped Jill and had her infected with different viruses and kind of had her be like a puppet, essentially, like a servant. And so I thought that was always weird, right? To see in Resident Evil 5 when Albert was, you know, controlling Jill through that thing on her chest. And so, you know, it's like I said, it's not too far-fetched. I can see where they're going with this, and they're also adding another layer to the characters bonding, right? Because the S.T.A.R.S team, you know, they were really successful because they were a team at the end of the day. And so for me, it doesn't really bother me if they are dating, and it looks like they are dating, right? This looks like it's a diner, and yeah, a little restaurant, and they're just chilling, and yeah, they're just goofing off. I don't know. I think that's interesting. And you know what? One of the things that the Resident Evil games never showed was these characters interacting with each other on a normal basis. And the only time we see these characters interact with each other is when, you know, there's an outbreak, you know. And so I think it's interesting. It's an interesting aspect that we see these characters mingle, right? We see these characters talking and interacting with each other, because that was one of the things that we never saw in the games, was these characters. Like, how come Chris and Jill never dated? You know, how come Claire and Leon never dated? That's really weird. You know, like they're always so friendly to each other. They've known each other for years. How come every Resident Evil character is literally always single? You know, that's weird too. And so it doesn't bother me that if the rumor is true that Albert and Jill are dating. Next, we see them, that same shot of the mansion, but this time we actually see the S.T.A.R.S members about to enter. Yeah, we've already seen these shots of the S.T.A.R.S members entering the mansion. Here we see Albert Wesker entering that room that looks like it's going to be crashed with the helicopter. Just a new angle that we've never seen before. Oh, here we see, now this is interesting. We actually see Albert going towards the piano and playing Moonlight Sonata. Now, this is a little weird. How come the director didn't just have Jill do this, since this is an iconic scene in the Resident Evil games? But you know what, that's fine, whatever. Yeah, he's got his little, what are those called? Those little notepads. That wasn't the correct word. I forgot what those, it was something with the P. Oh, that's old tech right there, but I forgot what they were called. Let me know down in the comments if you remember what that piece of technology was called. Is that what it says right there? Palm Pilot? No, there was another word for it. I completely forgot. But yeah, that little tech, yeah, he's looking at the chords for the piano. That's a blast from the past. We see this next shot where the door is opening, and then we see the shot of that cave, or what I assumed was the cave from the courtyard in Resident Evil 1. And this is a scene, and this is a shot that we saw in the previous trailer. But after seeing this shot again, we can see that Jill is right there. So this is the same room. This is the piano room, essentially, where the helicopter is going to crash. So this must be the entrance to the underground facility. So rather than the S.T.A.R.S team's members having to go outside and going through the courtyard to get into the facility, it looks like the facility just opens up with the piano. Now, this is very Batman-esque. That's exactly what this scene reminds me of. That little door opening, yeah, that with the piano. Isn't that how Bruce Wayne's Batcave opens up? I don't know, it's cool, but yeah, I think that's a rip-off from Batman. Yeah, and then you see that scene, we've seen that scene with the helicopter, so it's the same room with the piano and the helicopter crashing. Now, we've never seen this angle of that scene where Jill goes up to Albert, and it looks like Albert is telling her something and probably confessing his real plan. And we see a shot of Albert reaching for his gun, so I'm assuming that he's probably confessing something that he really shouldn't be confessing to. Jill looks really distraught. And then after we see the same scenes of the S.T.A.R.S entering the mansion again. Now, here's a different scene. We see a bunch of chemicals in the back. So I'm assuming that by with this scene, that this is probably that same area in the mansion where Rebecca usually was. But to be honest, I don't think we're gonna see any mention of Rebecca, Barry, or Marvin in this movie. And let me know down in the comments if I'm missing any other characters. This room right here is probably, it's either the medicine cabinet room where Rebecca usually is in the Resident Evil games in the mansion, or this is R.P.D later on in the movie. I'm not quite sure which area, because this background looks like it doesn't look like a mansion. It does look like it's a different area. So yeah, interesting, very interesting. And he looks like he's about to shoot somebody, so I don't know if he's betraying someone here. So I don't know. So he looks very angry in this scene. So I don't know if he's I don't know what's happening here. But it looks like he's about to shoot someone, not a zombie, but actually someone. So it looks like in this scene, he's probably showing his true colors and, showing that he's a villain. Now, the next scene, we see a zombie approaching Albert in that same piano room. And this looks like it's right after the crash, and probably right after him discussing or about to confess something to Jill. And yeah, he's going to shoot the zombie. Yeah, that's the same zombie, same area. And he's pushing Jill back. Now, this is weird. I don't know if we he was gonna choke Jill or what was happening here. That's a little weird. Why is Jill holding his hand like that? That's a little weird. I don't know, because the previous shot that we just saw, we saw him reach for his gun and it looked like he was confessing something to Jill. So I don't know if he was about to kill Jill or that's what the movie was alluding to. And then after, no, he just pushed her out of the way and just saved her. I don't know. It's interesting. And that is the end of Albert Wesker's trailer. Now I gotta say, with Albert Wesker's trailer, we actually saw a lot more scenes compared to the other character Vignette trailers. Yeah, I would say that out of all of the character Vignette trailers that I just broke down, I think Claire was probably the one that we didn't see much of anything. I think there's only one scene, and that was with the punching bag Easter egg. You know, I'm very excited for this movie to come out, you know, and I hope that you guys share my enthusiasm. I know that it's hard. I know for, you know, a lot of Resident Evil fans, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we have been burned very badly with the Milla Jovovich. But what I can safely ascertain by seeing all of these trailers is that it looks like they're trying, you know, they're trying to be as close as possible to the games. And so you got to give them credit for that. I know, and you know what, you know, when I did look at all these trailers, I noticed that the like and dislike ratio, you know, there was a lot of dislikes compared to the likes. And so I know that a lot of people are judging this movie like really, really harshly. And you know what goes through my mind is that what if this movie turns out to be way better than the Milla Jovovich movies and people just don't decide not to go watch it because they think it's going to suck? I would just recommend you guys to be open and to go watch the movie for yourselves and then come to that conclusion, right? Also, thank you so much for 500 subscribers. I can't believe that we've hit that milestone. We're literally halfway to 1,000. And then once I reach 1,000, I can join the YouTube Partner Program. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's watched my videos. Thank you so much, everyone. And just so you guys know, I have recently upgraded my gear. I just got myself a new gaming PC so that my workflow for making videos can be a lot quicker. And just like always, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to knife that like button. Remember to shoot that subscribe button in the face, and remember to punch that notification bell like Chris punches that boulder in Resident Evil 5. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
The right to be a god. That right is now mine.